Hi. So, I had my chat with Sudbury's Active Transportation Coordinator. That's her title. Anyway, it went pretty well. I learned a lot of what the city is doing. They have a plan for Sudbury biking. It's quite extensive, but it's just money. Money's an issue always. But I learned a lot about what's going on in Sudbury. It's kind of exciting things there. They have a master plan available online to download where they plan to put bike lanes and bike roads separated, elevated, like Notre Dame Bikeway, is how it's elevated with the sidewalk all the way to Paris. They're going to build a few more of those. There's a whole wide network. I'll leave a link in the description. She told me where I can download a copy of this plan and where it shows where bike routes are planned. So that's good. Now, of course, I asked her about plowing in the winter. Like I said, always money. So, not much can be done about that. But, don't quote me on this. These are my words, not hers. There's changes coming to the roads to help make pedestrians and bikers safer. Basically, they're going to shrink the road size, make the lanes smaller, make the drivers feel a little less comfortable, decrease the speed limits, and hopefully they'll just slow down. Those traffic ballers they put in the middle of the roads last summer proved that cars will slow down. As studies worldwide have shown that cars slow down when in a narrower space. So I don't know exactly what the speed limit's going to be, but the police prove time and time again. Every year on the first day of school they have a blitz and catch so many people speeding through school zones, which are 40 kilometers. I pitched to her do 30 like they do in a lot of places in Europe. One road she mentioned is already been done. They just couldn't afford the signs. And that's Atlee Street. It has a bike lane going from LaSalle all the way to Barrydown. I use that bike lane a lot. They just couldn't afford the signs to say, hey, slow down, the speed's lower. Something about costing too much. They needed too much because of government regulations, but regulations have changed and they don't need so many. So they're going to start implementing this very soon. Slowing down traffic in residential areas, shortening the amount of space cars have to make it wider for pedestrians and bikers. I can't say if that's going to be every residential street. I sure hope so. That would be great. Anything to avoid these stroads, the 5-lane roads that don't do any good to anybody, even cars. I talked to her about plowing the pathways through Sudbury that make biking so much more easier in the summer. Rotary Park, the LaSalle Historical Trail, Junction Creek, all those. They avoid main roads that don't have bike lanes, especially that don't have bike lanes. Well, she told me it's not really have to do with transportation. So funding for plowing, it can't be used. It's a leisure activity. They're leisure trails, so they're trying to get funding for plowing, but haven't been able to. So they're trying. At least I know they're trying, Maybe next year they'll be cleared. I offered to help, I guess, give ideas on how to make the infrastructure work. One of those ideas, I used to live down in New Sudbury along LaSalle. I used to live in Apollo Terrace. I must have been about 10 years old. That's about where I learned to bike ride, mountain bike. And there's trails all through the swampy area where all the dead-end streets along LaSalle go. So I had this idea. I was thinking, why not build a bike road back there? kind of have all those streets be like an off-ramp for a freeway, if you'd take that example. Connect all those end streets and have it come out by, oh, I forget the road name, but it's just by the film studio at the end of Arthur Street. And a lot of side streets back there for people to bike, and it bypassed LaSalle quite a lot, just like the LaSalle Historical Trail. So she's hopefully going to take that into mind. She seemed pretty interested in the idea. I mean, it beats a couple $1 million per kilometer for a bike lane on LaSalle when you don't have to do it. You can just make a road away from the main road with a bunch of connectors to get to where you need to go. You know what I mean? With that one road, a biker can get from anywhere from the CRA to Smith's Market without going on LaSalle. They just have to take those connector roads. Not a bad idea. Anyway, I've also proposed to her the idea of something New York City is doing, where citizens can report people parked in bike lanes, and they get a bounty out of it, just to encourage them to do it. So they get a percentage for every parking ticket they report. And from what I heard, I saw in a biking magazine, they want to do the same with speeders. Give some citizens photo radar guns, and hey, you want to sit in a lawn chair in your front yard and give people speeding tickets and get paid for it? Basically, sign up for that. So I pitched that idea. She's going to look into it. I don't know what if that's going to go anywhere, because speeding, as anyone who lives in Sudbury knows, is a huge, huge problem. I mean, the bikers in general are very leery about, especially major roadways like LaSalle. Nobody knows the speed limit's 50. I hear so many stories people fail their driver's test because the drive test center is right on LaSalle and they just boot it right out of there to 70 down the road to stay with traffic. Well, they fail. So, all in all, it was a good chat. I'll leave a link in the description, like I said, about how to get that master plan. Hey, where's my mouth not working? And we'll see what happens. And they're working on getting a good bike network. Something else she told me that they are looking for funding for is signs. Say you enter the city in a car. There's a sign that says, hey, Science North is this way, the hospital's this way, the hotel's this way, you get this here, get that way. Well, there's going to be signs for that for the bikers. How neat is that? And they're working on a route coordinator where you put your current location, your destination, and like Google Maps, it'll route you through the bike lanes, how to get there through the bike lanes. How cool is that? There's a couple other things she mentioned, but they're not really relevant to biking. But, oh, parking downtown, bike parking downtown, they're adding more. And there's only about two places, but they want to add more with the Junction project. Secured and covered and everything. Really great to hear. I wish the mall would do that. At least they have a parking garage where it can be covered. So anyway, that was my chat with the active transportation coordinator. We got a lot to talk about. I feel good knowing something's being done. And like I told her, biking in Sudbury in the summer when there's no snow is great. It's wonderful. There's so many nature trails that bypass major roads. There's so many bike trails or walking trails people use in neighborhoods to walk their dogs that you can bike through that bypass major roads. But none of those trails are plowed in the winter, so we're stuck. And I'm glad she gets it. She's not one of those people sit back and say, oh well, deal with it. No, she's sitting back saying, okay, how can we fix this? I'm excited. Let's let's see what's to come in the coming months, years. It's a couple year-long program. I think she said 2028 it'd be finished. It's a long time. It sounds like a long time, but hey, you know, bike cities like the places in the Netherlands, Finland, what's that city, Oulu, they didn't start overnight. I know some of them started in the 70s and 80s building their biking infrastructure. It takes time. Cheers, everyone. Get out there, enjoy the fresh snow, but stay safe.